I just welcome my students to the class. We're going to begin very shortly. I'm going to share my screen. Just a few notes about the movie poster. It is due today. So make sure if you have any other, questions or concerns, you can ask me, but all else looks good. Keep up the good work, everyone. We're approaching halfway through the semester, and before you know it, we're going to hit the end of the semester. So let's not leave things last minute. Stay on top of things like you always do, and keep having fun, okay? All right, let's go ahead and share my screen now. Okay, so we're in module number 6. This is the photo retouching module. I released it this morning. You do have a few files for you to download. I randomly pick a drawing or a cartoon character for us to render. We're gonna take a different look at Photoshop today. So far, it's been more like montaging, editing, creating composites, preparing images for different things. Like InDesign, for example, a lot of the images you're going to use in InDesign are going to be prepared in Photoshop. Maybe not all the time, but it does help quite a bit, especially when you do your own creative art direction and things like that. This will show you the more traditional method of using Photoshop, even before AI was introduced to the way it can do things right now with photo and imagery. Photoshop not only has the AI capabilities, as you know, it does have its great array of tools to do a lot of retouching on its own. So we're going to cover that. That's today's main lesson, the photo retouching aspect of Photoshop. So I need you to click on this photo retouching folder here under module number 6 and just download the photo retouching folder. Sorry, go ahead.
Turn up your audio, please.
Sorry, say it again.
Turn up your audio.
My audio is fine. Can you guys all hear me okay? Give me thumbs up if you guys can hear me. So maybe it's your volume on your headphones or your speakers. You have to turn that up, okay? Very good. So as I was saying, if you download this photo retouching zip file here, this is what we need for today's exercises. This is an additional file. I sometimes pick a random drawing or cartoon, even a Marvel superhero character, whatever you guys are into, we can re-render that one. A lot of rendering is done in Photoshop, not just for different illustrative purposes, but professionally, and even when we did the interior design program, I remember I had a class I was teaching the students how to do interior decorating rendering, and that was a big aspect of that program, just to show you kind of some of the samples here. Interior design renders, because like when they did the if you do this by hand, which they kind of do the sketch renders. If you do it by hand, it's very hard to modify it afterwards. So things like this, I mean, you can see how much work it's put into these perspectives and rendering and drawings that these interior designers use. A lot of the times they might have to change, let's say, the furniture color or the fabrics and things like that. So traditional methods were very limited because can you imagine you have to redo the whole thing all over again, basically, just to change the color of the walls or the flooring or the panels and things like that. In Photoshop, if you were to do something like this, you can kind of see where I'm going with this. You can definitely change things a lot more quickly without having to redo a lot of the effort and work put into it. So digital rendering is becoming very popular in different industries, not just graphic design, but even interior design, interior decorating, some other professional um, drawing, artwork type of fields and stuff. You can kind of see where Photoshop plays a big role in many industries. So that's what we're going to look at today. Maybe we're not going to do interior design room. We could, if you guys want, you can definitely do this as well. But the methods I'll show you, you can apply it on almost anything, basically, whether it's a comic book character from a Marvel movie or a DC type of sequel to something like this, right? So download this retouching folder zip file. This one, I guess we can save for last. We'll do the rendering last. First, we'll do the photo retouching aspect. So this is the folder here, module 6. Next week, I'll introduce you to the book cover. So this is where you have to do the book cover um, exercise. We're going to set you up, and that's your next deliverable, the last print deliverable for this module. So you're doing the poster and the book cover, and then after that, it's more like web screen-based design. Okay. Let me ask you a question. Did you guys already get introduced to your composite assignments? Did Roberto, Felice, or Sheila talk to you about this composite assignment yet? Give me thumbs up if you have. Yeah, okay, good. So as you're aware, there's different grade breakdowns and deliverables. Thank you. Appreciate your input there. There's different deliverables for each class that you have to pretty much put together. There's one for mine as well. So I'm going to go over that with you also. So this way you understand what you have to give me. It is a good chunk of your marks, so you can kind of see where this is. Got to change the due date though, because from last semester to this semester, we always have to change these dates going forward. I'm just going to put our like an approximate date. It's not going to be the final date, but I'm assuming it's going to be, I'm just going to go with the 30th for now, okay? End of the month. Save that. Uh, Daniel, do you have a question? Go ahead. Put your hand up. Okay. So I'm going to make it due 3 weeks from now. I think that's approximately the date when it's due. Things do change sometimes because this semester we did start halfway through the week. So we missed like a Monday and a Tuesday. So I don't know how that's going to affect your other classes or your due dates. So if this changes, I'm going to, pretty much um, make you aware of it. I'll mention it again, but I'll put it 3 weeks from today's date. What it is, as you know, you're creating a magazine advertising campaign. So you're going to be demonstrating your Photoshop techniques that you learned in my class to fulfill the objective for the overall final presentation. See this PDF, which I attached for more details. In addition to that, I wanted to for you to be able to format your ads into a social media format. So the ad size is 1080 by 1080 pixels, which is the standard, the meta dimensions. So whether you're using Instagram, some of the Facebook stuff. The older one used to be 1200 by 628 pixels. It's more like a landscape design. You can do either or. I think this one is more popular though. Okay, so even if you, from time to time, I do Google this stuff, step into Facebook. So I usually get this one here, and sometimes I do get this, the other dimension I mentioned earlier. That one pops up a lot as well. From time to time, they change it. But this is the more popular one, whether it's Facebook or Instagram or some of the other ones. The aspect ratio, sometimes it is this one here, which is HD for stories and reels. But let's go with this one, like I mentioned in my description here. And the PDF gives you some of the things that a lot of the stuff we've already done, and some of the stuff you're applying it on your movie poster anyways. But since this is a magazine ad, you have to consider print as a main format of delivery. So you're going to do 3 magazine ads, as you're aware. I'm sure Roberto or probably Roberto is the one that went over this with you. Um, there'll be a separate grade component administered for this assignment for each class. For digital imaging, which is the Photoshop class, which we're here, you're going to require to do the following items upon submission of the campaign project. So I want to see you be able to demonstrate that you can properly optimize images for CMYK, and you're going to make them optimal, like 300 or 200 DPI. I did kind of get lenient with this because a lot of the images off the internet are not 300. So if you're going to resample them, 200 is pretty much better approximate. Print-ready file formats are to be saved for the page layout documents. This is for InDesign. So that's the print-ready formats. What that is a PSD format. Back in the days, we used to use TIFF formats. You can use EPS formats from Illustrator. You can use Illustrator formats. So these are the formats you're going to save from Photoshop. We're looking at the PSD files is the way to go. You can also use, um, I guess, EPS if it's like paths and more advanced um, high resolution graphics. And I'll get into that demonstrating the reason why you might want to do that at some point. Layer masks are to be used on some of the images to show transparency because a lot of these ads will have some creative ways you can, you know, amalgamate or put together a montage of your ad campaign. So layer masks will, help you achieve that transparent look so you can kind of itemize things or arrange things from front to back and things like that. Various selection methods are to be demonstrated along with images. That's a given because otherwise, you're not going to be able to achieve the layer masks along with the layer selection methods. Layer blends as well are going to be also demonstrated on some part of the work. Okay, so layer blends is how you blend some of the layers to one another. Layer styles are optional. I don't want to overwhelm you with all these things. Like sometimes it's not necessary to do all this on an ad campaign. If you look at a lot of the ads, they're very simple. Like look at some of the Apple ads out there. They use none of these things, okay? Maybe some of the optimization here, if they're, putting some people or some characters holding their products, but most of the products are maybe clipped and cleaned up and stuff. Maybe they don't use effects and layer blends and things like that. But you're gonna have some fun with this. So you are gonna not make it too simplistic because then you're not gonna be able to demonstrate all these fun things that you can utilize. Okay. And there's a mix of different array of ads out there. You can see some of them are overly heavy with using all these techniques and effects, whereas some are kind of lighter and more simple. Try to find a good balance. That's why layer styles are optional, but it could help with overall presentations. So I want to see things like layer blends. Obviously, you need to use selection methods and layer masks. That's like the main thing. And more importantly, for you to be able to deliver a print-ready file format for InDesign. At least one filter is to be applied, subtle or drastic, to achieve effect. So the filters are very subtle. Maybe you want your text to be, you know, put a little pop to it, like a bevel and emboss effect, or a drop shadow, or a little bit of a glow, or you want some of the other things to have a different filter, like we did one, I think, in week 1 with the twirl. A subtle filter can really, really be beneficial to many types of images and graphics. Even some of the color filters, okay, which I can show you after. And of course, I always put my good luck and have fun. My favorite professor used to always say that to me, and kind of want to continue the trend. That's what you guys are here for. To have fun while you're doing this. You're not gonna pick a program that you're not gonna enjoy, right? Here's your great breakdown. So usually we do the criteria, technical, creative, and we have an overall total. All right. So it is a good chunk of your mark, and this is like your midterm kind of exam, call it. Although we're gonna grade this after the fact, but it is like your bigger delivery, applying everything you've learned, all the skills in all the other classes, and amalgamating it all into one. Realistically speaking, this is how graphic designers work pretty much every day. They work with Photoshop, Illustrator, and in InDesign they put the work together. Okay, I mean I can even show you some of the stuff that I've been doing recently here with some of my recent stuff. Here, this is a simple flyer that we do. It's a show special. I mean, some of these things we deliver for different conferences and symposiums. This is not my work, by the way, but I help facilitate some of the, let's say, product specials. So we put together things like this, right? It's just a basic layout of products, promoting things. Like I would use InDesign for this, Photoshop and Illustrator, putting all these elements together, promoting these sales, right? So we send these out to the shows, and this is how they do business with all the suppliers and stuff. This is in Alberta. We do one for every province in Canada, so we'll do a different special for every province that we do. Another one is if you do the catalogs, for example. This is another example here. We're doing the iodide catalogs. So this is again InDesign, right? And we put this together in, Photoshop. We clean up some of the images. We do the type layout in InDesign, and then we from Illustrator maybe we supply some of the logos and things like that to make like clean catalogs and different things. Even some ads that we do. Right, a lot of these images are clipped in Photoshop, assembled in InDesign, and the logo, of course, is like an EPS file that we, import from Photoshop and stuff. Sorry, from Illustrator. We put it back into design. And then there's other things that we use this for. This is the IO Connect stuff. So even courses, when we put courses together, okay, sometimes they look like this. A lot of these images that you see, they're all clipped, close cropped, and cleaned up to kind of accentuate the actual, product. In this case, this is a dental. You see a lot of dental stuff because recently that's my main clients in the dental industry. That's what I kind of do lately. I do other industries as well, but that's my latest focus. Um, Here's the one I was showing you, the Vita kits. Anyways, I'll show you some other cool stuff later. This is my kind of latest boring stuff that I do. Um, we're not, when it comes to doing this stuff professionally, you're not going to be creating award-winning designs. Sometimes it's what the client wants and what you have to deliver for them to make money. Because if these guys are selling $10 million a year worth of product, this is where it's at, right? As long as everyone's making money, that's the name of the game. Anyway, so these techniques here will help you prepare these images and graphics and whatever you're doing. I know you're doing a fun ad campaign, but next thing you know, you're going to be working for a client, or you're going to be working for an actual agency that requires you to, put these creatives together for mostly products and services for companies in different sectors, right? So this is why this is important. All right, so let's pretty much get down to the class now that I explained this composite assignment. I'm going to make it visible to you guys. And maybe we'll, jump on this again next time. We'll go over some of the other, I'll show you some student examples, what I've received from previous students on this one. So if you make this visible to you guys, so that'll give you a better idea of some of the deliverables that they did in my end of the expectation from Photoshop. And I'm sure the other teachers will give you examples as well from previous students. Just gives you a nice gauge of what's happening. All right, so let's get started now. So this is the module 6. Like I mentioned earlier, download both of these files. We're going to go right to the desktop here. There's a very popular character. You guys all recognize Mario from the Nintendo brand. I guess for this one, you have to just download it or save it to your computer. It's weird how it doesn't let you download, but you can just save the image as is. And then we can look at other examples. From that alone, you can learn how to do any type of rendering or coloring in Photoshop. All right, so let's go ahead and open this photo retouching file. Let's extract it. We're going to get a folder. In that folder, you'll have an array of images we're going to work with. And a lot of them will pose a different challenge. And there's some methods that you can use consistently throughout to get the job done. But my job will be to show you or demonstrate different different ways to accomplish this using a variety of different tools in Photoshop and techniques. So one is this one here, has a very common type of approach. You have a watermark or something on the wall, or you want to get rid of on the image, and it works really well with pattern type of backgrounds. As you can see, the bricks are tiled type of background. It's very random, so it's easier to get rid of things like this when it's a random type of background. A lot of things like clouds and brick and walls and different texture backgrounds is achievable. Then you have something more complex like this, where you have a person walking down the street, and perhaps we can also do a content aware fill in this case. That's the name of the approach. This is another one here. We can also integrate some AI methods as well to get rid of people or things on images. I know Google Pixel is doing a lot of advertising on the all over, their their channels of marketing for how they can remove or misplace people and things on the pictures and photos. So more and more devices are picking up this technique as well, because everyone likes to take pictures these days and edit them. But Photoshop had this way before even AI was introduced the way it is right now with like ChatGPT and stuff in the past 2 years. Even before Google Pixels and all these phones, Photoshop was always able to do this stuff. Okay, even like 20 years ago. Okay, probably more. All right, with using the various cloning techniques. And of course, Photoshop's a lot better than using Google Pixel because it's got a lot more tools, a lot more touch-up methods that phones can't even basically, not that it's impossible. I'm sure they have the way to do it, but from a designer's perspective, it's a lot easier to use a software on a computer than a mobile device. Here's another one here. This is a simpler one here, just to kind of get rid of things like that. This is the popular red eye removal. Okay, I don't know if you guys remember, if you guys were around when there was phones before the smartphones. We had the Blackberries, we had the Nokias and the Sony Ericssons and the older devices. I'm sure you guys remember. And a lot of the pictures that were taken back then, I would say, mid 2000s or early 2000s to late 2000s, a lot of the pictures had these red eyes or the red pupils. And a lot of the, photo studios had a red eye removal filter to get rid of this red, basically. And Photoshop has a filter as well that does that. So we're going to definitely look into how that's achievable. Then the infamous, skin touch-up technique, like blemishes and things like that. You can clean up the skin and really make a smooth surface. A lot of the cover models and some of the high-end magazines, a lot of the, they're all photoshopped to some degree, to smoothen their skin to make them look perfect. Even puff the lips and do the eye, all that stuff that you can do with cosmetic surgery that costs tens of thousands of dollars. Well, for Photoshop, it's a lot more easier and achievable. And that's what people do with their profiles and pictures and things. This is a black and white photo, a very old picture that needs to be color balanced, corrected, and perhaps even retouched as well. So this is a more of a workload, but something we're going to look at. Another popular scenario here, just removing textures from different levels. In this case, removing these little footsteps from the sand. And same thing, misplacing pixels from one area to another. In this case, we have a rock formation. All right. So all these images pose different types of challenging scenarios that we're going to dive into. I guess I skipped the best for last. This is the ultimate one. This one really needs a lot of work because you can see here it's a torn up photo to a lot, like very, very hard to reconstruct something like this. Well, I'm going to show you how to actually do it. So all the methods we've learned, we're going to apply everything and solve this problem. Sometimes this is all you might have left of, let's say, your grandparents or your loved ones or other people. This could be a nice gift for the holidays coming up. If you can do something for someone like this, they'll probably cherish it forever. This is priceless, right? For some people. So you can have the skill to actually do this whole thing, retouch it. Not only that, but even color render it as well, right? So this is like the last one we're gonna approach. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I need you to open Photoshop. If you want to just watch me do this, that's also fine as we're recording this lecture. So we're gonna go ahead and do the actual image here. This one here, we're gonna open. So let's tackle the easiest one first. When I say easy, I mean, with some of the first techniques that we're gonna be embarking on. So we're gonna go open this with Photoshop or open the image directly from Photoshop by going to File, Open, right? So here we have an image with a flat background, and I can tell by looking at the background layers here. So what we need to do is basically we can leave the background locked. Um, I can show you other ways of unlocking and relocking the background layers. But the more simplest way is to use the marquee selection tool, the rectangular marquee. We're going to make a selection like this. Okay. And we're just going to press the delete key on your keyboard. Okay. If you don't have the delete key, I'll show you another substitute method because I know the delete key on different laptops there's a little small one, then there's a big one with the backspace. So whichever one I think works. If I just hit my delete key on my MacBook here, right, it's going to give me an option to do this. It's going to ask me to do black, pattern, gray, white, or content aware. Okay. So I'm going to do a content aware option here. So content aware. And if I press the OK button, what's going to happen is it's going to automatically do a content aware fill, just like that. Okay. Now that applied it automatically on the background, and it does a pretty decent job. Whereas the other approach would be I'm going to press edit, undo, edit, undo. Okay. I'm going to show you one more method and just close that door. If you do the same thing with the selection. So that was easy. Just press delete, content aware, press OK, done. It gives you a random result every time because we have a random a brick texture in the background. The trick with this,
I don't delete. My keyboard. I have a share keyboard, so I don't know which one is the delete key.
yeah. So then do this one. So do this with. So if you can't do it with the delete key, do it this way. I'll show you another way.
Don't show me.
Yeah. So do this, okay? So make another selection, right? Like I said, every keyboard's different, whether you have a Mac or a PC or the delete key is differently labeled. You can go to edit, and you can go also apply a content aware fill. Now, this method is better because you control the area a lot more with what you're targeting to content aware fill it with. So if you do it this way, you can see the results. You can see the masking area. The masking area means whatever is this greenish, that's the default color, by the way. Whatever is this color here, you can just, I'm taking away more and more. Let's say you want to take off some of the other debris or, surrounding areas you want to control. Look, it's affecting it right away, right? To add this mask, let's say I want to add more of this texture array of some of the parts I'm deleting. You can go up here, there's add or subtract. If you go to add, and this is the size of the brush, by the way, set to 246. You can set that with whatever you want. If I click on the plus button, I'm just adding more of this brick texture here on my result. So whatever I add more of brick, I think it's okay, the brick. I can put more bricks here. You can see how randomly it's adding more and more to what I want to achieve. To take away, use the minus. I like to use a shortcut. With option, I like to minus, and without option, I just add. So you can do either or by substituting, applying, negative or positive. Just like we do normal masking, this is just a different example of that. In this case, using it with our content aware method. So it's pretty well expanded, a lot more controlling than just, doing a Google Pixel highlight, press OK, and hope for the best. This you can actually control what areas you're targeting, and it's going to do its own mathematical equation of, algorithms of how to achieve this effect. And you can then control auto, rectangular. But this one you got to be careful because sometimes it eliminates everything else that you've done. I don't recommend you change the settings a lot. It's more like the controlling aspect of the brush, but there are some additional things you can change, like color adaptation, rotation adaptation, scaling, and things like that, mirroring, output to new layer. You can do this to the current layer, or you can duplicate the layer, right? So I just kind of leave everything to default with the new layer is fine and things like that. There's also sampling and overlay. This color represents the mask color. Let's say I have a lot of green. I'm doing like a forest with a lot of trees. Well, maybe the green might interfere with my other greens. So I might want to change this to like a blue. And from now on, the mask is more like a blue instead of a green, just a preference. Again, opacity just shows you how much, transparency you see through it. I like 50%. To be honest with you, I like the defaults. Like professionals that made this software made the defaults for a reason. So a lot of times, unless I really have to change the defaults, I do. And I do dabble with them, don't get me wrong. But a lot of the defaults are just fine. They work. It's a matter of how you apply it, what you select, and how you control the results. Okay? All right, so once you press OK, what happens is basically the same thing. The difference is this is a separate layer. So if you hide and show the layer, this is a copy on top of the original, because that's the way the preset was selected. What we might want to do now is maybe merge this down. Remember Command E, or just right click and merge down, right? So this becomes now one layer. So this is a little more expanded, this method, but a lot more control and with a lot more, different results and stuff doing the menu here. Edit, I'll show you one more time, content where it fill, as opposed to doing like a quick delete shortcut with the selection being selected. If you want to do it fast, you use the shortcut. If not, do this. Okay, so on to the next one. Any questions before I move on? Okay, let's go close this one down. I don't have to save this. The next one has a little more of a trickier proposition. We have a person this time, not just a writing on the wall, but an actual person. So the subject is the person walking on the street, minding his own business. We're gonna have to you just have, sometimes you can't have people in photos, so we're gonna remove the person from the background. We're gonna open it with Photoshop again. All right. We're gonna zoom in. This time we're going to select a lasso selection tool because it's a little more free form. Doesn't have to be perfect as long as you get a good surrounding area of pixels. So what I'm going to do with the lasso tool is simply click and drag the mouse and do this. If my hand gets tired, I'm going to hold Option, and I can just do like, I can snap it now because I'm holding Option or Alt. And if I press and hold the mouse, it goes back to the lasso. If I let go and press Option, it always keeps it locked, so I don't lose control of my tool. It gives you a lot more better flexibility and control doing this, holding Option, because if you release it, then the selection forms, right? So you want to control it with Option when you do this. And I want to keep it simple so you understand how, the simplicity is effective when it comes to things like this. So I made a quick selection. I'm just pressing Q to show you. Don't do quick masking, please. Just to show you what I did. If you can't see the marching ants. All right, so for this one again, to be honest with you, the first one I showed you, I really don't show you like this content that we're fill. was supposed to be for this example. The reason why some of you had a problem doing it, so I had to show you on that example. So I'm going to repeat it here again, okay? Because the other one, you didn't need to do this because it was very easy. You just press delete, content over fill, that's fine. But this works in both scenarios. So I'm going to do it here again, okay? Content aware fill. And this time you can see a lot more of the result and the preview of what's happening. Not bad, okay? And you can definitely, because of the lighting conditions and stuff, you can definitely zoom out here and control some other variances. Like I can add some more of this, oh, press maybe the add key. I can add more of these bricks here, right? And I can maybe subtract some of the maybe areas over here. I know it gave me a different result. You see how it quite significantly makes the effect work. So by sometimes it's a guessing game. I don't know what's gonna happen where. You might have to do a little bit of both and experiment with it. But ideally, I mean, it gives you a pretty good, example of the outcome, right? So once that's done, you can, change some other settings that I showed you earlier and pretty much go with that. Press OK. And then if you want to do some other touch-ups, as you can see here, it's not really perfect because this is a nice square type of finish. And this is more like a blended thing. This
Mm.
is the this is the drawback. It's not gonna give you the
You know
smooth
about selecting the whole thing without getting without messing up the lasso.
option. Alt. Hold Alt key. Or just make a you can do a one quick swipe if you just keep a steady hand, but if you hold option, you can go click, 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 click. Remember we did this with the little bowl pasta example? You can do that too. Now to the only flaw here is this corner here. To bring this corner over to the other side, you might have to do some additional
You just select
Photoshop
it.
techniques that you already know, right?
You just select it. You just select it.
What's that?
As you just select it.
So try it again. Just go like this. Go like this. Watch. See the lasso? Go like this. Just make a rough selection like that. That's it. You can do that, right? And then go
Don't
to
see it.
edit.
Don't see it. Don't see it. Don't see it.
Okay. So let's just keep going. Okay, this is
Don't see
being
it.
recorded. So you can watch the video after, okay? And you can practice again. All right? Okay, let's just keep going now, right? So once this is done, well, the next part is to grab this little corner here and apply it on this other side. So to do that, you might have to go to the background layer. I can use any form of selection, even like a rectangular marquee tool selection. And I can grab this little corner piece over here, like that. And literally you can copy and paste it and flip
So
it on the
I
other
select it.
side.
So do I remove? Do I?
You do the same thing as before, content aware fill, and press OK. Okay. So from the background layer, okay, I'm gonna mute you, Daniel, okay? Because you're gonna have to just watch me now, okay? And after, if you have any questions, I can answer them with you. All right, just hang tight, please, and be patient. Okay, and you can't disrupt me all the time, okay? Because I have to keep going here, and this is being recorded. All right, so what I'm gonna do now is copy this block right here of the brick wall from the background layer. I'm gonna press copy and paste. So this gave me another copy now. And if I move this over here on top of this layer, well, first let's merge this one down. Merge down. And this one now I'm gonna have to flip it. Flip it means I'm gonna have to go to edit, transform, flip horizontal, let's say. So I can kind of put it in the right place. Oh, kind of was off a little bit. And then I have to I think I should have cleaned up that edge a little more. Anyhow, so you can do even close crop this a little better, and you can use this block of extraction to make this even better executed type of finish. Okay. Um, I mean, even this I can fix with using different methods. I can definitely, this is, I'll get into some other, in other examples. But if I go to, let's say, even the patch tool, I can grab this piece here and move it over here. Oh, let me try this the other way here. With the wrong layer. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to show you this after I'm done this example here. I'm just going to take this little area here and move it over there, for example, right? So you can do other little techniques to clean up. And of course, I'm going to have to pay some more attention to detail. But you're going to have to do some more patchwork on your end to professionally execute this. Let's hope you don't have to get this challenging background image. But there's other ways. I mean, you're going to probably spend an hour doing this professionally. But the tools that I'm demonstrating here will make you achieve that look. And hopefully, I mean, if I did this better, I think, to begin with, I should have spotted that from the get-go. You'd be more mindful, right? But again, this is just to show you how more controlling this, content-aware fill method works. Okay, so whether you have a simple extraction or cloning out backgrounds or more complex, this method, seems to work in a more controlling fashion. All right, so let's go to the next one now. I'm going to put this one away. Don't save. So that was the content aware fill method. As you can see, that's the title of the image. This is another one, but I'm not gonna keep repeating myself over and over. I'm gonna show you some contextual taskbar AI generative method, which we're all aware of how Photoshop does it now. So for this one, I'm gonna do that one, and we'll compare the two methods. Which one works better? So for this one, same thing. Here's my lasso tool. I'm not gonna hold option or anything. I'm just gonna make a selection like this. Right? And I'm going to try again, edit, content aware fill. And if you can see here, it's actually not that bad, except the fact that it's taking some of the bricks here and putting them in the wrong place. So it kind of is not that clean. I'm just going to delete these parts here with option. So now it kind of made it a little better. Maybe delete this parts as well, or add those parts, right? So you could, to some degree, get this to work, but we're going to try that versus the AI method. Okay. So the AI method is using the under window. If you open up the contextual taskbar, because, contextual meaning you can add your own context or prompt, and then you can task it to basically generate anything for you. Or, so let's have some fun with this now. So there's my contextual taskbar. Gonna move it over here. Right. Guess I can do another selection. So there's my contextual taskbar and ask me to generate a fill. If I do generate a fill and I type in something else, let's say I type in baseball player. Do you think I'm going to substitute this person here with a baseball player? I'm still getting that Blue Jays hangover from last night. It was really, really fun. So let's put a baseball player in here instead of this person. We'll hit the generate button and let's see what happens. And as you remember from before, it does put in a separate layer as well. And there it is, a baseball player. Are we happy with this baseball player? Perhaps we can choose a different example of a baseball player. That doesn't look so bad, actually. Or this one here. Notice how they all have their foot planted on the actual curb there, right? I don't think it's bad, but I think we can do a lot better ourselves by getting a different image of a player and superimposing it on top ourselves. And because this doesn't give you, unless you prompt it like, Toronto Blue Jays player, baseball player. Let's see if we can put the Toronto Blue Jays baseball player wearing blue. Okay. Let's see how well it does on that one. Did I even have a selection selected? I think so. So the more descriptive you get, I guess the better result it'll be. So that's definitely not a Toronto Blue Jays player, but it did follow the blue prompt. Even this one here, as you know, the team just doesn't nearly. So you know what? This is not perfect. Okay, it's kind of fun and entertaining to do this, but it's not going to give you the actual professional result. So to get a professional result, okay, with AI integrated generative fill, my favorite thing to do is basically do this. I make a selection of the subject, and that generated fill is still like my go-to, right? But let's use the AI because this is getting better, okay? And I'm not gonna put here. Last time I put a clown or something funny and whatever. Now I put a baseball player. Rather than me prompting anything with description contextually, I'm gonna just leave it blank and just hit the generate button. So I'm not typing anything. I'm just making a selection. I'm going to hit generate. What's going to happen is Photoshop will determine that, hey, maybe this whatever is supposed to be here will be substituted with the surrounding background pixels. So now that's going to do just that. It's going to basically delete that part. And you can see here magically the person is gone. And we have a substituted pixel image because you got to think logically. If you delete something, what's supposed to be in that place? Pixels. What kind of pixels? Well, pixels that are kind of look like it's part of the real environment, which in this case it's this. Notice how the edge is a little off. You're gonna have to touch that up a little bit. Let's try the other alternative. This one looks better. It's cleaner edge. It's got more trees in background. And the third alternative is this one. Let's just put a statue out of nowhere. So A, B, or C, right? I'll go with B because I like the edges are nice and clean. And it does kind of reflect the background a bit with the bushes and stuff in the background. And you can do some further cleanup and touch-ups. But I mean, this is the better results. I can then, really if I want to get a baseball player in there, and let's face it, if I want a Blue Jays batter, right? I can get a picture of a real Blue Jays player and superimpose them in there. Okay, so I can just do my own superimposing, maybe do some kind of a layer mask or quick mask, right? And that's how we would do it, right? So you want to bring in an image like this. This is not even clean background, right? When you get transparent images online, be careful because you got to get this transparency grid as well. You don't have to do this last part, but that's, the method that you're going to use. Of course, you're going to get rid of this background and whether you want to mask it or do something else, right? We can even use the object selection tool if we want. With that one, you will have to be careful because it's maybe missing a part of the bat. So you're gonna have to go maybe quick mask mode and just press X. Just get the rest of the bat out there. I'm holding shift by the way, right? And you don't have to do this. I'm just showing you an alternative example here because as much as I like this AI tools, they're cool and fun. You can use them to some degree like I did right now. So I did a generated fill with no background. I got myself a real baseball player for the Toronto Blue Jays, and that's my final, I guess, assembly here. Command J. I'm just going to delete that layer. And here's a little more, something that I really, really want, something more realistic, right? So it still comes down to you, doing your own Photoshop editing. So AI is not going to take your job yet. Don't worry. That's what I tell people, right? It's maybe going to get better and better. I'm sure it's going to get better, but it still takes, your own discretion, your own creative touch to make it look more appealing and real. All right, so that was using that generative contextual taskbar. It gets in the way a lot for me. Some when I do other things, so I like to hide the bar in most cases. Only when I want to call it out and make it visible, I simply go to View and or a window and just pop it up again whenever I feel like it. Right? All right, very good. So I'm gonna close this down. Uh, yeah, I'll give it a save. Why not? Save it as a Photoshop file, just for an example there. Alrighty, so the next one, we have this one here. This one is an example of a. We're going to get into the tools now. So far I've been using the menus and some of the palettes out there. As far as the tools are concerned, there's a vast array of Photoshop touch-up tools. One that stands out is the Spot Healing Brush tool. This one we're going to use in several examples. Then there's the Remove tool. Then there's the Healing Brush tool. There's the Patch tool, Content Aware Move tool, and the Red Eye tool. So we're going to cover all these today as well. So with the spot healing brush tool, it's very simple. You make the brush size bigger by going up here, increasing the size. I'll do like 70 or 80, whatever. Hardness, you can leave it at 100, or maybe I like to use 90 sometimes, right? And the spacing and all that, I will leave that alone, just pretty much the size and the hardness. And you simply go over the area you want to get rid of. Now, you can do this many ways. I can still use the method I showed you earlier, or I can just do this, just paint over it, and it's gone, okay? Just like magic. The reason why this method works, because the image on the background, it's very subtle, blurry, kind of uniform, and kind of easy to execute, right? So that's why, and the position of this was in the corner, so it was easy to smoothen out the surrounding pixels. So for that, it worked really, really well. Could I have used the other methods? Yeah, they would work too. But this is a cool and click way to do that. Now, notice the contrast between the lady running in the background. You think I can just get rid of her head like that? Probably. Can I get rid of all of her here? Can I just do this? Yes and no. It does leave leftovers. You're gonna have to pass it a few times to get the job done. But eventually you could get rid of pretty much anything there. The only thing is you're playing with pixels at this point. It's replacing other pixels with pixels that they don't exist. But yeah, it does work. I was hoping it wasn't, so I can kind of prove myself wrong and say, no, you got to use the other methods. But this method actually works. It's getting better and better, I guess. I still like to use the other methods for that. I just use this brush when I need to. Right there, spot healing brush tool. So don't delete the lady. So don't do that. Okay, just do this. Just do that.
My
That's
brush
it.
is still seems to be working.
Are you in this tool here?
I am, but she needs to have, but she must have at least 8 gig of RAM to use it.
Oh, so yeah, so you have to upgrade your computer because you need more memory in your computer to use it. Okay. So talk to an IT person and tell them to clean your computer a bit, okay? You're gonna have to allocate
No,
more space.
I got a computer. I
Okay?
got a laptop that has the.
Okay. So I'm gonna have to keep going now. Just watch the video, okay? Because that's not really right now. I can't help you with that right now, okay? So please, you can't
No, I
keep
got a laptop.
interrupting me.
No, I
Right.
got a laptop.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Okay. So let me just keep teaching here, okay? Please don't interrupt me. Thank you. All right. So I'm gonna close this down because that was that example there. The next one is, I guess I'll jump over to the red eye removal tool. Simply, we're gonna open that in Photoshop as well. With this one, um, there's a specific tool for red eye tool, and like I told you, there's a good decade of photos. Can you imagine how many pictures people took between 2001 to 2012 or something, or even 15? A lot. So a lot of photos that have this problem, what you have to do is use the red eye tool, okay? And what you do is you pass it like this. Watch this. I simply select the entire eyeball, and it gets rid of it just like that. It just targets the red, okay? It's made for, hence the name. And there's the pupil size and the amount, which I'll leave it at 50/50. But this red eye removal tool does just that. You simply pass it once. If it doesn't do it fully, pass it again. But be careful because it's going to blotch up some other areas. But just by doing that, it gets rid of the red. Look, even her lips, let's say, let's make a selection, right? Eventually, it will get rid of the red in those areas, the red hues, okay? So obviously don't do that. I'm just showing you how effective this tool is to get rid of. It's specifically made for eyes. It kind of knows to target those areas, right? So easily done just by using a few clicks using the red eye removal tool. All right, let's go ahead and close this image as well. How many of you remember this red eyes? Have you guys ever seen pictures with red eyes on photos? Put your hands up. Let me see. How many of you experienced photos like that before? I'm sure all of you, right? To some point, right? All right, very good. All righty. So the next one is going to be this one here. It's called the spot healing brush tool. Just a review of the current one we did, and I'm going to introduce more methods as we go along. Um, this one's a very popular approach because you have a lot of photos that people have maybe different skin conditions, blemishes, and things you want to take out and smoothen. Same method here. We're going to use the spot healing brush tool. Okay. Now, the remove tool is a little newer one as well. They introduced it with the AI use. I'm going to get into that later, but I'm going to cover these other ones first, and then after we'll get into that one. So spot healing brush tool. Here we go again. I'm just going to click on different parts of the face. Don't start doing this. That's not going to do any good. It's going to blur the pixels. You're better off picking points, like by clicking to different areas, and by subtly doing this, you're able to remove those pixels. Okay. So that's how you want to approach this tool, just by gently clicking on the target areas, right? The target areas, you're simply clicking and selecting different parts. Okay, just to kind of reiterate that method, this is the spot healing brush tool. All right, I'm going to close this. Don't save. You guys have a question, or you just have your hands up from before? Mia, do you have a question? Oh, we're good. Okay. Now this one, I'm going to introduce to you and sort of keep showing you the same tools again. We're going to get into the healing brush tool. Now, the healing brush tool works a little bit differently because this one you need to target an area that you're cloning on top of. Now, this is a combination between spot healing, which is this one, spot healing. So with that one, you can actually go and target the spots, like I'm not doing it right now, right? So spot healing does work, in a lot of ways here. Not gonna do the entire image, but you get my point, right? You get to spend maybe this is maybe a 2-hour job, right? So you do that. But the spot healing brush tool, the other method, basically, if you get to some tricky areas, trying to find the face here. Let's say the hair here. Let's say I want to target this, and it's giving me some challenges. What I might want to do now is apply the healing brush tool. Okay. So the healing brush tool, okay, works like this. You basically hold Option and you target the pixel area you want to replace it on top of. So if I want to get rid of this, if I want to get rid of this, I Option target this part of the hair. Option click, and I simply go over this area and spray those pixels right on top, and it blends them perfectly. So it's a little more delicate, a little more, I guess, subtle type of implementation of pixels. It even blends them as well. Again, option click, click, option click, and then click, right? Whereas sometimes the spot healing brush tool might give you an unexpected result. So be careful with, different methods, different tools. That's what they're there for you to kind of play with both of them. Like if I do this one here like that, you see what it did? It just erased everything. So I can't use the spot healing brush tool for all the different parts. I have to use the healing brush tool in this case instead of the spot healing brush tool, because when it comes to this specific pattern, I'm going to have to go option click and simply go over here and painting that area like that. Maybe a little more like this, right? So option clicking, we're supposed to just doing the healing brush tool. Okay, so that's what it's there for more control with the healing brush tool. Just gonna try this one very quickly here. Wow, did you see what happened there? Some weird stuff, guys. So when I selected the actual area, it changed it into the head. But you got to use it with the contextual taskbar. I think that one. If I do this, oops. Yeah. So this one's an AI integrate. Like I said, I'll cover this one after because it is kind of part of the contextual taskbar. Let's go over the other ones first. So the remove tool, because they all look similar. They all have a bandage onto them, right? So spot healing brush tool, the removal tool again. There's a whole tutorial we can look at because it did change the way that works. So I have to refresh my knowledge on that one. To be honest with you, I want to make sure I control it properly. But let's finish these and then we'll get back to that one. The patch tool is the next one I want to demonstrate. Okay. So the patch tool is the next one I want to demonstrate here. But you know what we're gonna do first? It's 10 o'clock. Let's grab a quick break. And then what I'll do is when we come back, we'll do the patch tool. We got two more tools to cover, and then we'll get into the rendering here. So we do have a long morning. Let's grab a quick break, okay? And we'll come back here in 10 minutes, okay? We'll continue the lesson. So go grab a coffee, take your eyes off the screen, relax for a bit, and we'll come back here, okay? So see you back here in 10:10. Make sure you guys are all there. All right, so see you guys back here in 10 minutes. All right, give me a thumbs up. All right, see you guys back.